I've always been drawn to ethereal images in art, soft pieces with large strokes that are organic, beautiful sunsets. I love the waters of the Northwest, organic matter, texture, organic flowing shapes. The supermoons are incredibly inspiring to me. I love remembering to look up. Colors are what propel me into excitement and wanting to get into the studio right away.
I'm Jen Ament, and I'm a visual artist. I do about a commission a month, and doing a commission for Deb, who is a fellow artist and has a beautiful home that I am so grateful to have a piece in.
Hello, how are you? Come on in.
So excited! She has such a beautiful, fresh, neutral, playful vibe.
I think something, on the larger size is gonna fit really beautifully here.
Maybe something sort of neutral with a pop of gold. Yeah, I have a few ideas for this that I think would work really well.
Okay.
Rectangular or square.
Either I think could work well. I think we would just want to keep in mind not going much beyond here.
Okay, Deb, I think I have some ideas.
All right.
Would you be okay if I surprised you?
I would love it if you surprised me.
Okay.
Honestly,
Great.
Make what feels really good.
All right.
You've seen the space, and you know I love your work, so make whatever.
Cool.
I'll love
Thank
it. It'll be so fun.
Yay. I do paintings with wax. I do paintings with acrylic. And I do printmaking. I've been doing art since I was 12. I started taking a couple of classes. I went to college at an art school, and then I dropped out after about a year because it wasn't for me. So then I came to Seattle and just took some art classes here and there. Some of them didn't resonate with me at all, and a couple of them did, which was printmaking. I just felt really good about carving and the relief that you can find in that. And then I wanted bigger pieces in my home that were more modern, so I started doing that. So I have these few different mediums that people have all responded to, and I feel really lucky about that. The mission for Deb, I'm gonna end up doing an encaustic in the house with like a really fresh color and some gold leaf. I start off with this amazing, beautiful beeswax. I put it in this pancake griddle, and then I take these Damar crystals, which are this beautiful, amazing, ambery type crystals, which is tree sap. Tree sap sometimes has little bee parts in it because they're naturally attracted to the tree sap. And so what I do with that is I use this strainer to get rid of the little brown pieces that are in there. When I'm done with that, I put white oil sticks into the next griddle, which is my base for the color that I'm gonna put in later. But this is what I start off with. And I brush layer after layer onto a wood panel and then blow it with a blowtorch for probably about 4 or 5 layers. This is my first layer that I've already done for time's sake. What I'm doing now is putting a second layer, actually probably a 4th layer, of white wax, which will be the base. I get my wax from my grandpa, who's been a beekeeper for 72 years. And, no, I'm just kidding. I don't get my wax from a beekeeper, but I do get really high quality wax with that's unfiltered. and it's beautiful. And then I take my titanium white powder and it makes the beautiful wax white. I think this is going to work really well because her house has a lot of whites, a lot of neutral colors, pops of color here and there, but it just is a really fresh, modern looking interior. So I'm excited to put something that I think will go really well in there. This is a blowtorch, which a lot of people are kind of scared of, but it's a really empowering piece of equipment to use.
Painting with fire is incredibly empowering. Using a blowtorch, I think for years, if I would have been around a blowtorch or if I would have held the blowtorch, I would have been very fearful of it. Using it with ease, I feel like I am doing something that not many people do. I am sort of obsessed with it.
So this is my favorite record store of all time. It's in West Seattle where I live, and it's got the rarest records, amazing editions. So this album was a huge inspiration for me. One of my favorite artists is Raymond Pettibon, and he did this cover. This band was very experimental and not very well known back in the 90s, but I love it.
I think music was my first foray into just being interested in anything that was beautiful. I remember having a little 45 record player that I always had something playing on in my bedroom. And then I think just the beauty of sound, and then that kind of propelled me into just beauty of just your surroundings and the natural world. For my encaustic pieces, there's just a natural flow. Not only am I inspired by my surroundings in the Northwest, but also the movement of sound and the flow of sound.
You have to let go of sort of control, which is kind of amazing. You can control parts of it, but a lot of it is not really a process you can control.
I just feel like it's a kind of a organic thing where I am moving with the sound of the music, and that movement translates into the flow of the wax and the melting of the wax.
To make my circle is a little bit of a secret, but it's basically going over and over and over again with layer after layer after layer, and it builds upon layer after layer. So we've got all of this amazing texture, and I just keep going over it with gold leaf. People tend to just love them because they sort of add texture to any space and work really well as a subtle piece of art. So this will really go really well in Deb's house because she has a lot of gold accent pieces and beautiful creams and metals, and so I think it'll look really good. I'm gonna have to do a lot of cleanup with this. It's really messy. I start on the edges and then fill in from there because the edges are a little bit trickier. think the literal images of printmaking and the fact that I could reference sort of street culture, pop culture, record covers from France in the 70s, hands, which I'm kind of obsessed with, magic, illusion, just everything that is really interesting to me. I will sketch out an image. I press the image onto this piece of linoleum, and I use a wooden spoon. Some people use a brayer, and the graphite from the pencil transfers right under there. So I go over it with a Sharpie, just so I can see what it's gonna look like. I take my carver out, and I start carving where the black lines are not. I pull the ink out of here, and I spread it on this table. Then I start with the roller. It takes a second, 1 or 2 tries to pull up the perfect print. Some people use wooden spoons for this part, but I found that I can really feel where the image is with my hands better. And this is the big reveal. Voila. So there's inconsistencies, but that's what makes it handmade. So I finished my encaustic painting, and I'm so excited to show you. Deb's house is a very fresh, modern, and just gorgeous place. And this really, I think, is gonna go so well in her dining room. When I do the outside smooth part, I do probably about 20 layers. I blow it with a blowtorch, and it takes a lot of time. It just gives a beautiful ethereal look, and you can almost see underneath the wax. So this part, I love the way it turned out. It's got even more texture, which I just brushed over and over and over again. And then gold leaf to make the crescent moon is one of my favorite processes. It's really fun. Commissions for me are such a great process. I work with the client, and they usually let me do whatever I want. They don't pressure me. It's just always a really great feeling to work with people and their families and their home. So I love creating art, but it's even more enjoyable when I get to put it in someone's space and they get to enjoy it every day with their family, or at a restaurant when people get to sort of interpret it the way they want to.